Now, are you just going to follow orders, or are you just going to let it go by? What's going on, everybody? So today Hulk Hogan died, and Ozzy died yesterday or the day before, and a couple days ago, the guy from Cosby Show, maybe? I can't remember. He passed away. But if you look at the news, a lot of people die. I'm trying to understand this whole conspiracy thing with, oh my God, this famous person died, and how many people do you know in your life that have died? People that I went to school with, they've died. I'm 33, 34 years old. That's part of life, is people die, and we get so wrapped up with, I guess because they're famous maybe, or you know them, you know of them, that you're like, wow, that is a conspiracy. It's got to be a conspiracy. These people are dying all over the place, and it's just another person that's passed away, and sad, sure, but I mean it's part of life. We should be more concerned with the children dying from all this heinous stuff going on in the world, or people that are the suicide, things like that. Like, that's the people we should be worrying about. It's sad that Hulk Hogan died, but Ozzy, and I liked his music growing up. I liked Hulk Hogan growing up, but it's part of life. But that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is I wanted to talk about something that happened today at Walmart. And I always think it's funny when it happens because I brush it off. But I was in a bigger city today, a very liberal city, I guess you could say. Very woke city type place, and I had to use the bathroom, so I stopped at Walmart to go use the bathroom, and I got Subway while I was there, and I parked the truck and I walked in. When I walked in, there was a line of people there waiting to leave. There was like 6, 7, 8 people in line with their shopping carts. It looked like Costco leaving, and I was just like, These people, man, these people, why? And I went to the bathroom, I went to Subway, I sat down for like 10 minutes and I ate, and I walked back out the same way, and there was still a line of people just waiting in line. And as I was walking past them, I stopped and I talked to this older man and this lady, and I was like, you can just walk by this guy, you don't have to wait in line. And he looked at me like, what? He said, I don't have to do this? I said, no, man. Like, no, you don't have to. You just walk by them. It's happened to me plenty of times where I go buy something at Walmart and I leave, and the guy's like, can I see your receipt? And I simply say, no, thank you. Have a good day. And I walk by them. These stores, it's not a membership store, so they can ask you for your receipt and you can say no. Most states do, however, have a shopkeep law, which gives them the right to stop you and ask you for your receipt if they suspect you of a crime. If you go in there and load up 10 TVs on a cart and walk out and the beeper goes off, yeah, they're allowed to legally detain you, but they can't use force, something like that. 90% of us going into these stores anyway are going grocery shopping with our families. We have our kids with us. And I mean, we see it all the time anyway on the news. The people over in California and all these big cities where they're literally going in there with book bags and just stealing all kinds of shit. Nothing happens. But it's you and me. It's the people doing our grocery shopping or getting the stuff we need for the week with our kids that are, whoa, let me see your receipt. But I always just say no, thank you, have a good day, and walk by. But this guy today, when I told him that, and he was just like, blew his mind. I don't have to. And he walked out of there so proud with me. He walked right beside me. But the guy that was looking receipts. He had his mask on, the whole thing, whatever, gloves, get up. And he, the look he gave me was just, how dare you, how dare you take my power away from me? And I started laughing, and I was like, have a good day, man. And I said it really loud to everybody. I was like, none of y'all have to sit here and wait for this. Like, you guys aren't stealing anything. There's no suspicion of crime being, occurred. You don't have to. But it surprises me that people still, go along with this, follow the rules of the establishment. What I'm getting at here is people that still wear the mask and, walk around like, a side note here is really funny is I see people to this day, 5 years later, that are driving around with a mask on by themselves. The other day I saw a guy, he was walking his dog, jogging with a mask on, on the sidewalk. And I just think to myself, why? Anyway, back to this. The point of this video is you don't have to follow along with what these people say you have to do. The guy at the store saying you have to give me your receipt. You don't have to. You can look these things up. And this is such a stupid thing to even make a video about, but it drives into the thought process of a lot of people that are still just following orders. I'm just doing what I'm told. Look at World War II. They were just following orders, just doing what I was told, man. You have to start using your common sense in your brain and ask yourself why. Why are they making you just follow orders? Why are they making you just do as you're told, kind of thing? And why are you listening to it? Always ask why. Why is this happening? It's something that needs to be addressed in this country. Always ask yourself, why do they want me to do this? So the reason I was talking about the guy with the mask looking at me all angrily and, pissed off was it felt like he was looking at me like, how dare you take my power from me? These people. So there was a movie I watched a long time ago. I've talked about it before. It's called The Wave. They're in a club. They feel special. They feel like they have power. The whole saying with absolute power corrupts absolutely. These people, just like crooked politicians or corrupt cops, everybody can be, most people can be corrupted in some way. Everybody sins. The point is to overcome that sin and to fight against it and to not let the sin corrupt your, who you are, your spirit. But these people, they get a little bit of power and it's like, yeah, I'm the shit now, You got a 70-year-old grandpa wearing a mask telling everybody they have to show the receipt at Walmart, and his little bit of power, his little bit of authority, and his whole world goes upside down. He's not used to this. Hell yeah, I'm the shit now. And there's so many people out there like that. You go to the store, put your mask on. There was so many people that were emboldened that we have a purpose now. We finally have a purpose, and we can tell everybody what to do. Tell them have a good day and walk away, man, and pray for them, and maybe explain to them why they don't need to do this. Explain to them why what they're doing is completely retarded. Like, I changed the mind of the guy when I was walking past him. I said, hey, you don't have to do this. I felt bad for this guy because, he looked so impatient, and he just like, man, I gotta go, looking at the time, and it seemed like he was in a hurry. We all have stuff to do. We're always in a hurry. We always have things to get done, and the last thing you want to do is sit in line for 15 minutes in Walmart to wait for some old guy to count your receipt and make sure you didn't steal anything while you're buying your groceries for your family that you can barely afford anyway. The last thing you want to do is waste your time. So to drive home all of this short, long story, whatever you want to call it, is, will people follow orders? Do you think people will follow orders when the government tells them to do something? We've seen, like I said before, World War II. There's countless examples of people just following orders. Listen to us, and then we'll use you to force other people to. The more we fight against the system, the more we say no or ask questions, the more we stand up as people with our liberties and our freedoms and our rights, the more we stand up and say no or ask why, and if we don't like it, we get these people to be quiet and set them aside, the better our lives will be. You can't just stay quiet and walk under this, because it's slowly going down. It is slow. The ship that we are in right now, as a society and as a country, and just our morals altogether and standing up for ourselves, the more we don't do that, the more we just sit here and watch videos and agree with it in our house and yeah, but when you go outside, you don't say shit to anybody or stand up for yourself or our country. The more we do that as a people, the worse it will get for us, and the worse it will get for our children and our grandchildren, and just down the line until there's nothing left for anybody. So we need to explain to these greeters why we don't have to do that. We need to explain to these greeters why we don't need to show our receipt. We need to explain to other people that are waiting in line, you don't have to do that. Simply say no. You don't have to follow orders from somebody that it's not a law. Half of these laws that we have in this country shouldn't even be here in the first place anyway, because most of them trample our rights and our liberties. That's a different issue. That's an issue that we have to go to court for and get this shit changed. That is something that you need to get your politicians to change for you. And if your politician won't do it, you need to uproot them. It is the same thing with the schools, how we bitch and moan, and their schools are, I can't believe they have critical race theory. Oh my God. Or they have a litter box in the school or whatever. But like, we laugh at it and we say it's crazy, but we do nothing about it. We don't stand up for it. We just keep our mouth shut and we walk away. We don't say anything. We just walk away. We are doing this to ourselves because we are not standing up for ourselves. We are not progressing as a country and becoming better because we're not doing anything. We're simply standing by and being quiet and just following orders. Now, are you just going to follow orders, or are you just going to let it go by? I think we as a society that wants our liberties to be preserved, and actually maintain some kind of moral in this country that we have, we need to start organizing. We need to start coming together as a people. We need to start explaining to the other side, whether you're left or right or whatever, and not just yell at them and understand them. You need to explain to them. Now, not all of them you can change their mind, but just think about it.